All right, we get on with business now. Emmanuel Bajoyafe has joined me. Hello, Emmanuel.
Hi, good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Any secrets for your better half's birthday tonight?
That's
it's a surprise,
off
right?
the news.
I know, right?
Oh, yeah, you bring us the news.
Thank you very much, and thanks for joining me in business. The General Secretary of the General Agricultural Workers Union, GAU, Edward Karowe, has lauded the decision by government to marginally increase the cocoa producer price for the next crop season. Government today announced a marginal increase in the cocoa producer price index by a little over 8%. Mr. Karowe says this will positively impact on farmers and the sector as a whole. The current situation means a 64-kilo bag would now be sold for 515 Ghana cedis, while a ton would go for 8,249 Ghana cedis. The General Secretary of GAU spoke earlier on Business Live.
It's an increment. An increment is a positive development for the farmers. It's also an indication that government is interested in seeking their welfare. But then we also have to come from the angle that government itself is also challenged. You know, government has to make this increment in the face of dwindling global cocoa market price. And an 8% increase, certainly as a farmer, they would have wished that it goes beyond that. Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire, what happened in Cote d'Ivoire is that when the price of cocoa in the world market dropped significantly, they also reduced their prices to their farmers, their producer price. But Ghana never did that. You know, so government or cocoa board maintained the price at a very high cost, in the sense that in the face of the drop, they still maintain the high, the price. So that's why I'm saying that it's a challenge for government. They would have wished that they increase the price more than this, but I think that it's a positive sign, and I believe so that in future, given all the arrangements government is making, Cocoa Board is making, the collaborations they are having with Cote d'Ivoire.
Now, government has begun setting up digital and mechanized centers to shore up production of rice across the country. The move by government is to help reduce rice importation in the country and encourage more farmers to go into rice production. In 2018, rice importation stood at $1.1 billion, and there are indications if nothing is done to improve the production of rice in Ghana, the figure could increase. Richard Kwejunyakon was at the inauguration of one of the mechanized and digital centers at Twifo-Praso and has come through with this report.
The Mechanized and Digital Center at Twifo-Praso is one of the many mechanized centers that would be set up by the Agric Ministry to enable farmers get access to equipment and other farm inputs for the cultivation and production of rice. Rice imports continue to surge ahead of production in Ghana. Increasing rice production and yields has therefore become a priority to governments. Central Regional Director of Agric, Hubert Delafiao, says they are hoping to cut rice importation by 50% with the introduction of these centers.
Figures for 2018, that's importation of rice, it stood at about $1.1 billion, which is a very huge amount. And because of that, the government has taken the initiative to be able to also try and reduce those imports by trying to kind of grow what we can grow so that we'll reduce those imports. So because of that, the government has developed a special rice initiative, which is under the Planting for Food and Jobs, to be able to at least make an effort and consciously try to reduce the imports of rice.
Member of Parliament for Twifo Etimokwa, Abraham Jumaodum, who championed the setting up of the center, is upbeat the initiative will do the country a lot of good as well as lifting farmers out of poverty.
We need to, one, reorganize and rearrange our rice farmers. And besides that, we also need to give them a support. So the Ministry of Agriculture has given approval for such equipment to be distributed to areas where they do rice. You only make the necessary requisitions for various services to be provided. You don't need farm hands to come and do any work. All what you need is you make a requisition to the center, and the center will bring all the equipment right from land preparation to sowing, and then
Regional Agric Engineer Bufa Owusu says government is training farmers and equipping them with chemicals to help fight armyworms that rocked many farms about 2 years ago.
Government is giving free chemicals to combat the armyworm whenever they come. And then we're also giving training to the farmers to be able to identify the symptoms of the armyworm. We are now training them in early surveillance, that 2 weeks after germination, you should be able to go around to see whether you see any sign of the armyworm. And drugs are there, chemicals are there at the regional office, and we give to the district. And when the district is finished, they come to the region to take additional stock.
Some of the farmers who spoke with JoyNews expressed their excitement about the gesture and hoped it would change their situations and circumstances for the better. Richard Kwejenyako, JoyNews, Cape Coast.
Away from agriculture now, the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors Ghana is asking government to initiate investigations into what led to the loss of more than 1.6 million Ghana cedis in petroleum taxes to the state between 2016 and 2018. Speaking at the launch of the 2018 industry report on the downstream petroleum sector in Accra, CEO of the Chamber, Senyor Hossi, said the underreported revenue is evidence that some illicit trade is still going on in the sector. According to the report, collection of taxes for the period under review witnessed a significant increase due to implementation of the special petroleum taxes. Despite the increase, Senyor Hossi believes some unapproved routes are still used for fuel trading, which is against the laws of the country.
I think that it is a well-networked act of thievery that's going on in this country. It's a very well-networked with politicians, with officials, including BDCs possibly and OMCs possibly, all of us. Who is going to carry the thing? It is us, the industry people. Who are the ones supposed to police the thing? The GRA. Who are the ones who call people to tell that release this, release? These are politicians. So it's a very serious underground petroleum economy that we are creating as a country. And we are endangering the economic sustainability of this country by allowing it to fester. The president set up a committee to work on it. I'm looking for the people who are going to be caught. What we have done this time is not just estimates. We have taken official data to prove. So if we can now prove that 2.79 billion has been lost and unaccounted for, why shouldn't government be taking steps to recover them and arrest, prosecute the culprits?
Our government will roll out interventions to boost cocoa production. Details in our local wrap next.
Users have started paying more for communication services following the implementation of the 9% communication services tax. The tax was increased from 6% to 9% by the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, during the presentation of the 2019 mid-year budget review. The fight against the illicit trade of refined petroleum products is yielding results, with the latest report on the activities in the downstream petroleum subsector showing that the country saved nearly 1 billion Ghana cedis, which would have otherwise been lost through smuggling of the product. The report, according to the Daily Graphic, showed that 952 million Ghana cedis was saved from blocking the sale of illicit sale of petroleum products in the country in 2018. Ghana will soon roll out a series of interventions geared towards boosting the cocoa production chain and attain a climate-smart cocoa regime. Government is investing more in the sector and would on Friday launch the Cocoa Forest Red Plus program aimed at promoting and boosting the climate change efforts at the sector.
And that's business for the first segment. I'll bring you more business after 8 p.m.